The Tenpai matchup, a lot of difficulties to overcome, a lot of misinformation going around. I mean, is Yubel even a hard counter? What are the best things you can do against them and what combo should you do? All of that and a lot more in today's video. Let's first get something out of the way. While Yubel can have a favorable matchup, it's also most of the times not necessarily a good matchup, since Tenpai games are going two ways. Either you win by having literally one interruption, or they have 3 hand traps, Lightning Storm, the Fieldspell, and there wasn't anything you could have done about that, regardless of the deck you are playing or how good you are. And to be honest, I don't like that. I think it's frustrating and there isn't much skill expression involved at all. Tenpai's goal is to blind second OTK while synchro summoning in the battle phase. So what are their general choke points? It really depends. Like I mentioned, if they have it, they just have it. You can't do anything about that. If they don't have it, they are actually quite fragile. General good things to stop are: number 1, the Fieldspell. The Fieldspell is the most toxic thing about the deck, basically making every Fire Dragon monster in their main phase 1 unaffected, so they can just Black Rose you for free or make every interruption you have in your hand or on your field useless. Cards to stop the Fieldspell are, of course, for example, Cosmic Cyclone, Ghost Ogre and any sort of back row removal. Before I forget to mention, the Fieldspell is also a one-cut combo that just completely kills you, so seems like a fun deck, right? There's one tip I can give you regarding the Fieldspell. If they immediately start with the Fieldspell and want to use its effect to search, that tells you they likely don't have any other way to play. Since if they have another way to play, they would most likely just leave the Fieldspell on the field without activating it and running into a Ghost Ogre, and just play normally while being protected. So keep that in mind. The second good thing you can stop is the Quickspell. Since we can't use any of our interruptions in the main phase most of the times because of the Fieldspell, we can just try to hold the Ash for the battle phase. The Quickspell is one of the ways they have to access the Tenpai dragons. They can add one Tenpai dragon from the deck to the hand, and now, important, only in the battle phase. After adding, they can immediately special summon one Tenpai dragon from the hand. So Ash is really effective here. They need 2 bodies on the field to play. The most important one is the only tuner, Chandra, the red one. Paidra often just adds the Quickspell, so if they only have Paidra on the field while having the Quickspell in the hand and they proceed to the battle phase, if you Ash the Quickspell, they most likely can't do anything. Paidra only does something if they already have a Tenpai dragon in the graveyard. It's basically a monster reborn for Tenpai dragons. So if they start with Paidra and proceed to the battle phase, it's the same as with Paidra, just Ash the Quickspell. Chandra is the only tuner and one of the most important Tenpai dragons, since on its own they can combo with it. In the damage step, Chandra can special summon any level 4 or lower Fire Dragon monster from the deck, basically giving access to any other Tenpai dragon. So if you somehow prevent them from having Chandra, you basically just win. Paidra prevents the Tenpai Dragon player from getting any battle damage while attacking with a Fire Dragon monster. So yes, that sadly means they won't get any damage from Nightmare Pain, but keep in mind that Yubel, Terror Incarnate and the Ultimate Nightmare, they won't reflect battle damage, they actually give you effect damage if you attack into them. That means while having Paidra on the field, if they attack into any of the OG Yubels, they still take the damage. And the green one just says that they cannot be destroyed by battle. Wait a moment, I mean, they need to do direct damage, which means they need to destroy our monsters first, and Yubel cannot be destroyed by battle and we don't get any battle damage, so just having one Yubel on the field should seal the deal, right? I mean, I wish. Sadly not. While Yubel can be a big inconvenience for them, they have multiple potential ways to deal with one Yubel. They can just bounce it with Moonlight, they can go into Samurai Destroyer, they can go into the Time Lord, or they can just go into the level 10 synchro and pop the Yubel. And since we cannot activate any effects in the battle phase while this fucker is on the field, we cannot float into any other Yubel form. Even though one Yubel isn't a kryptonite against them, having Yubel in combination with some other stuff can really hurt them. What can you side against them? Well, that's a little bit difficult to answer since they run a lot of back row removal, Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, most of the times even in the main deck in combination with Pot of Prosperity, so they most likely will have it. In theory, Super Polymerization, Impermanence even, they are really good against them, but you still lose against one Lightning Storm, so I can't believe I'm saying that. Floodgate lingering effects like Waboku, Threatening Roar and of course the best out of them, Dimensional Barrier. So they play a lot of Board Breaker, they play a lot of hand traps, and most of the time when they are playing, it's in the battle phase, which completely makes Rage useless in the matchup. What is our plan exactly against Tenpais? Well, better than to talk about it is to show it to you with a replay. He won the dice roll and let me go first in that format that immediately tells you it's Tenpais. So I wanted to adapt my combo to beat Tenpais, but Fate had something different in store for me. Fate wanted me to draw Terror Incarnate and the trap, so sadly in that duel, one Imperm ended my turn. Still, it's a really good showcase of how fragile Tenpai dragons can be and what exactly we can do to stop them in the following turns. The only play my fucking bad hand gave me is to normal summon Beckoning Beast and link into Almirush so I can revive the spirit in my hand to get access to my Yubel engine. Sadly, that dies to one hand trap and my hand is really fucking bad. I mean, look at that and look at that, so I had to end my turn, but I still had hopes since I have one Imperm set and I know if they don't draw everything, it's actually not that good of a deck. They normal Chandra and proceeded to the battle phase, and like I mentioned, that monster alone is full combo, so important, don't try to Imperm him on activation because it's in the damage step, so you won't be able. If you want to stop Tenpai Dragon's damage step effects, you have to do that on declaration, and that's exactly what I did. He destroyed my Muckraker, but I don't have a problem with that since I have combo and spirit on the field already. Now it's my turn again. I completely stopped him, like with one Imperm. It's insane how bad the deck can be. And I draw Pot, which is quite nice. But my second opening comes into play, adding one Dark Beckoning Beast, and now, since both openings are soft once per turn, I can make use of both of them. I activated the pot to reveal one Squirmer and two Veilers, so I happily took the Squirmer. That was really good in that case. Because of the set card, I still was quite nervous, so I decided to deal with that first. I activated Spirit Gates to get rid of the Terror Incarnate and to rebond the Dark Beckoning Beast, and then I link off Spirit of Yubel and Dark Beckoning Beast before committing any further into my combo to link into the Phoenix, and Phoenix will then try to scout what the back row is, and the back row luckily for me was Droplet, so it was good that I did that. Now I can play, and I originally wanted to play around Nibiru, but he didn't have any trigger once I reached my 5th summon, so I just scrapped that idea. I normally summon the Beckoning Beast to add one Spirit Gates, since for the other Spirit Gates I wanted to have a discard that isn't Infernal Grave. So I activated the other one to rebond one Spirit, discarding the Spirit Gates. And now I activate Spirit of Yubel, of course, to have access to everything I want. I use the Nightmare Pain to pop the Spirit and to of course get to the OG Yubel, while adding one Samsara to our hand, since we have the extra normal. And we make use of that by extra normal summoning the Samsara to go into the second Spirit of Yubel. I literally had access to everything, so I kinda was a little bit unsure how I want to tackle that. I activated Pot of Prosperity, so I couldn't really go for an OTK. So I wanted to make a board that is strong enough so that they don't have a comeback at all. I linked into Yama to add one Shavara, and now I spill the beans. One of the best things you can do as a Yubel player against Tenpai Dragons is to go into the Nightmare Griffin. If you go first, one of the best setups against Tenpai Dragons is Muckraker on the top, Nightmare Griffin on the bottom, and now Shavara in the hand while having Yama in the graveyard. Even if they have Droplet, even if they have Lightning Storm, or Change of Heart or Talents to take, you can chain Shavara to pop the Nightmare Griffin and then activate the Yama in the graveyard to just rebond the Nightmare Griffin. So they really need to have specific outs, multiple, plus combo to out that board. It's extremely strong. If you have the ability on top of that to have one Yubel monster on the field in combination with Samsara, since Samsara works under the Fieldspell because it affects the activated effect and not the monster itself, you basically just win. I basically continued to build a board strong enough so there isn't any possibility for him to make a comeback, and I achieved exactly that with the Nightmare Griffin. And I even reset the Imperm via Nightmare Griffin's effect. That's completely crazy. Like I mentioned, I couldn't go for an OTK since I had Prosperity up, but he couldn't do anything, like that board is unbreakable. Game 2, my hand is pretty stacked. Besides Terror Incarnate, I don't know why I always draw it. I mean, it looks cool, but please stay away from my hand. That hand literally plays around everything, especially since the best thing we can do against Tenpai Dragons is the Nightmare Griffin, and we don't need access to the Yubel engine for us having access to the Nightmare Griffin. So once again I tried to go for the Nightmare Griffin lock, but this time I don't die to a single imperm, which is kinda cool. I normal summoned the Beckoning Beast to then link into Eye Mirage to use the Spirit Gates on the field to revive the Beckoning Beast, so I immediately can extra normal summon the Lotus. Why exactly did I do that? I still had Nightmare Throne in the hand, and I know that Spirit of Yubel, Samsara, they all are hand trap magnets, and I also know that I don't need access to my Yubel engine to go into the Nightmare Griffin lock, so even if all things go bad, I still can basically lock him out from playing. And I tried exactly that. Besides that, I knew that later on in the combo I will link into Muckraker and then I can just go the whole Samsara Yubel line, but in hindsight, I shouldn't have discarded the Spirit Gates. I mean, at first glance it sounds right, if I have Yubel on the field I can just re-add it, but the problem with Nightmare Throne is that if you have Terror Incarnate in your hand, you can't activate Throne to special summon the Terror Incarnate, since it has to add from somewhere besides the hand. So that was a misplay. I do think I should have just discarded the Terror Incarnate so I can later on get one extra body, but it didn't really matter in that case here. I linked into Yama to have access to my Unchained engine, and with Nightmare Throne I just added one Infernal Grave, so I basically had an endless amount of gas in my hand. I activated Infernal Grave's effect to special summon him, and during the whole combo on multiple occasions I threatened Appaloosa, Varudas, and he never did anything or had a response window, so that told me he isn't on nip. Okay, after my combo I established a pretty strong board against Tenpais. I mean, I had Muckraker in combination with the Griffin on the field, and I still had Yama unused in the graveyard and Shavara. On top of that I had one additional spirit in case anything goes wrong, so I do think that's borderline unbreakable for Tenpai. They need multiple specific board breaker and full combo and you not having any hand trap. In that case he just scooped, so yeah, that's pretty good to use against Tenpais. Even though we have Yubel, we have the Nightmare Griffin, and maybe a little more favorable matchup against Tenpai Dragons than other decks, it still feels bad to play against them and really luck dependent, since if they have everything, you can't do anything against that. I don't like the Tenpais at all, but like always, we have to work with what we have, and at least we can do something. I mean, that's worth a lot, right? See ya.